You can clap as many times as you want, I guess. What's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, brother?
Doing great.
Great.
Finally got you on here. You were busy with school.
Yeah, got 5 classes this semester. It's like driving me nuts. And then on top of that, I'm currently trying to increase my eligibility for track and field. So that's a doozy.
What do you mean increase your eligibility?
Okay, so it's weird. It's like the NCAA is weird in that sense where the minute you start a sport or anything like that, if you're enrolled as a full-time student, your eligibility clock keeps on running. So they're saying that because I went to community college, I played 4, because I did football. I played football. I ran track. I also swam, and I played water polo. So, and within those times of playing sports and transferring over to HSU, there was a couple times where I was a full-time student, and because of that, my clock
started.
Yeah, my clock started and it kept on running. So I was only able to play a season of football here and a partial season of track here because NCAA messed me up again. And even when I transferred over here, when I was putting in my major, they thought I was kinesiology coaching and teaching, but when I was actually kinesiology pre-med or pre-PT. So they like got me all confused and like, oh, you're taking the wrong classes. So they tried to spin that whole thing, and it was just nuts. So, but I ended up getting that fixed and then competed in track and field. But it was like half of the season pretty much. So I was like trying to see if I can like still get my eligibility back or something, because I graduated, or I walked in 2019 and I'm finishing up my degree.
Shit on? Okay, hold on. Try and talk a little closer into the thing. Maybe I should try.
Sorry.
All right, keep doing.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. All right, that's better.
All right, good. What's good, ladies?
What's good?
What's good? It's just Stefan on the mic. I'm sorry. Back to serious mode.
Yeah. So you're trying to increase your eligibility so you can keep playing?
Yeah, because I walked in 2019, and I'm finishing up this year at HSU, trying to get my degree and stuff like that. And while I was still here, I was like, I still want to compete in track and field and everything. Like, after competing in all those different sports, I realized that track is my one true love.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was gypped.
Over football?
Over football, to be honest with you.
Damn.
Yeah. Like, so my three sports, because, well, my main sport overall is wrestling.
Yeah.
Holds a near and dear place to my heart. But they don't have wrestling over here.
I know.
Or at community college at De Anza. So unfortunately, that might be it. I'll still watch it and everything. I would still love to find a club team somewhere out there and still kind of compete and stuff like that. Maybe even try to do some fighting, which you guys have been trying to get me to do at Lost Boys and stuff like that.
You'll like jiu-jitsu, that's for sure.
Yeah, something like that. Just roll around for a little bit. But right next to it is track and field. Like, my mom was a track runner back in Africa. She's Nigerian, so she ran in Nigeria.
At a collegiate level?
Maybe if they have a collegiate level over there. I don't really know, like, the whole school system.
I'm sure they're all fast as fuck.
So it's like, it was built into me. My dad was a sailor because he's from Grenada, and he loves water. Hence why I was like doing swimming and water polo and stuff like that. Because, you know, you live on an island, you got to know how to swim.
Right.
You gonna stay on the island all your life? No. Just stay on dry land. I'm digressing a lot.
No, that's good. So track and field, you're gonna try and extend your eligibility. So you want to like go and do a graduate school and still compete?
Yeah, like, so, okay. One, I love it because it's good fitness and it makes me feel good. But one of the big reasons is because with this God-given talent of mine, which is like my physical ability, I want to use it in order to make money for my mom, because she's carried me for my entire life, basically, even till now and stuff like that. So I want to be, because she was like the main breadwinner. So it's like, I want to be a big breadwinner in that sense and like buy her everything now. It's like telling her like, yo, mom, like, you can stop working now. Like, I got you. You know, one of the biggest things is I want to get her a house, and I want to get her a bed so she can just like have a place to relax and just chill. And me being 24 with this physical ability, I feel like I can push myself to a professional level to where I'd be able to make that money, as well as staying healthy and stuff like that. So that's one of my biggest goals. And then on top of that, I want to be a doctor and stuff like that. So I'm also going to school and taking all these medical classes, and eventually I'm going to go to med school, and I got to take the MCAT and everything, which I'm going to be studying for soon. But that's what I got going.
Yeah. So you want to make money. How are you going to do that through track?
Mostly
that's a difficult one.
It's difficult, yeah, but you can get it through sponsorships, and when you compete, different placings gives you different amounts of money. So obviously, if you're the first place, you get a large sum of money along with the medal and all this other stuff like that. But second, third, and fourth, you also get some money as well. So I want to be.
Wait, so you can get sponsorships being a collegiate athlete?
No.
So this is out in, like, what competition would you join to get money as a track athlete through sponsorships?
So in college, like the NCAA, they don't want you to have any money.
Right.
So, but in college, doing college sports and stuff like that, college athletics, will put you on the limelight for sponsorships and stuff when you do go professional. So it's like when you sign a professional contract and stuff like that, you have more opportunities like that because they'll look at you like, oh, we've noticed you from college and stuff like that. So that's what I want to do, because I've had some opportunities pop up here and there, but it's all fizzled out because it was just like too early, or not too early, or too late in the sense where they've noticed me at the tail end of the sport. And with this eligibility, I was like, I want to be like known right then and there from the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
That's cool. So how much longer you got here at HSU then?
I might take a year off and stay up here for a year and work and try to find a club team or something. To be honest with you, like, the future is very tough. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, I'm not gonna sit here like I have everything laid out. No, like, I have bits and pieces of how I want my life to go. Because I sound all jumbled and all over the place. Exactly, of course, I know.
Everybody does.
Yeah, but so I was like, I want to take this year off, just to like gather my thoughts and everything.
So this is your last semester?
Last semester.
So then after that, you're just gonna chill and kind of try and figure it out.
Try to figure it out and everything. If unfortunately, if track and field or like any other professional sports does not work, then that's just the life it is going to be. Then I have to accept that. And then
you still buy your mom a house when you become a doctor.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I can just switch the focus up. It's not going to end right there. My life's not going to be over. I'm going to be 25. Like,
yeah.
So if that professional athlete spot does not work, then I also have my medical background that I'm going to be working towards. I also want to travel, you know, just like have an overall, just a nice, good life.
Yeah, successful and healthy.
A successful life. And then this year I'm going to use to try to like figure out which avenues to take and everything, because with college and like school, like I've been just going to school just constantly. I didn't take time off or anything. It's just like one after the other, just bang, 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 over and over and over again. And I mean, I've stumbled a couple times, which is why I kept on going to school and stuff like that, because it's just been all over. And my mom's very big on academics and stuff like that, so she's just like, stay in school no matter what, and like just you'll get your degree and everything will be good. But it kind of gets stressful at sometimes, you know. So me being an adult, like, I'll take this year off just to relax. It's just a relaxing period. Mm-hmm. See where that goes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hell yeah. Let's back up and get to how you got to HSU.
Ooh, all right. This is an interesting one.
Yeah. So your mom's from Nigeria.
Mom's from Nigeria.
From Grenada, or was he stationed there?
My dad is from Grenada.
Okay.
Born and raised. He's West Indies. If y'all don't know where Grenada is, it's a small island in the Caribbean. islands, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very far away from Jamaica, but still part of the Caribbean islands.
Yeah, that's its own country.
Yeah, right next to Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a U.S. owned island.
It's probably no. Actually, let me see.
Because
we actually,
it's probably not.
no, because
I think
the
we only
currency,
have the British islands. Your U.S.
yeah, it's British. I think it's British because
Yeah,
like we use their currency, the English currency, euros. Is that what it? Yeah.
It was a euro, a pound, and maybe one other one. I don't know.
The pound or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. So how'd they meet then?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Maybe you should do a podcast with your mom.
Yeah, I could try. I tried having conversations about that. They're very reserved on that topic. They don't really want to explain it, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna take it as is.
Are they still together?
Yeah, of course.
They're still together. We're like, we ain't telling you shit.
Yeah, we ain't telling you shit. No, that's just how it is. I've asked, and I was just like, oh, how'd you guys meet? We just met. It's like, end of story.
I was like, what's up?
So what's up? She's like, what's good? Bam, I'm here. That's then then my sister and my brother. So
so they tell you how they landed in California then?
My mom wanted to come to America because it's every foreigner's dream, of course, and she came with her sister, my aunt, sisters actually, and my dad. He was sailing in and out to Florida and stuff like that because he's a sailor, so he can just go all over and stuff. But my dad was also very reckless. So
like a sailor, you mean like in the Navy, or just had his own sailboat?
Just he's a sailor. Just had his own sailboat and stuff like that. Just did his own thing. Yeah.
Nice.
No military background to my knowledge, but he was back and forth through the seas and stuff. And
I really want to know how they met now.
Yeah, like I want to know too, but like they won't tell me. Just happened. So I guess the story that I got was that my dad was just being reckless and just a fool, and he used to get in trouble a lot, of course, because he's just a young guy, and he's gonna do what he's gonna do. And finally, he got in trouble way too many times, and he got adopted from my grandfather, and he like helped him be a better person, and like took him to California, and took him to school, and he was an electrician and everything. And then somewhere around the lines, like my mom came down, she took a plane out to California, and they just met up. And
so they met in California.
They met in California, okay. Definitely, because I've been in California majority of my life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were born here?
Yeah, born here. Yeah. Born and raised. Let's see. Fast forwarding. We lived in Saratoga for a little bit, and I remember because that's when it was like a rocky time. My mom and my dad like separated for a little bit, and she had my sister, and then I was living with my dad. And then,
how old were you at the time?
I want to say like 3, 4.
Okay.
Yeah. My sister's
barely old enough to probably not remember much.
Yeah, not remember much. I just remember the house that we lived in and everything. And I lived with my dad, my grandpa, and my grandma for a little bit. And then I remembered my grandma passed away. And my dad and my mom came back together, and we moved down to San Jose, and that's where we stuck for like the majority of the time. Mm-hmm. My grandpa eventually moved to Arizona, where he stayed over there. I think he lives in a retirement home or something. This is all like just bits and pieces. This is all I remember. For the most part, I was like, I didn't really care much about the past. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, just keep it pushing. Especially as a little kid, I just wasn't I was reckless. It was just like I wasn't caring.
Yeah, sometimes you don't realize like how important it is to kind of know where you come from.
Yeah, it's like
everyone just kind of tries to ignore it.
Yeah, like you, it's like it's there, but like trying to remember it again, like the little details and stuff like that. It's just like, to be honest with you, I'm like,
yeah, and like put it into a good, nice, flowy story.
yeah, because it's like so many things kind of happened and it's like weird. But what I can tell you, for the most part, like where the biggest story begins, or where the main story begins, is when we moved to the trailer parks, and that honestly was like the coolest spot. Like it was weird because
was
like
that in San Jose or Morgan Hill?
San Jose.
Okay, because I grew up in a trailer park in Morgan Hill.
Really?
Yeah, when I was really little.
Damn. Okay, I see you. You're right there. Growing up in the trailer parks was pretty cool. My dad and my mom separated again. So it was just my mom, just being a single parent and stuff like that. And before my dad left, my dad was like, "Oh, you're gonna be the man of the household." Or everybody keeps on telling me I'm the man of the household because obviously I'm the oldest between my my brother and my sister, my little brother. So I took that to heart, and I thought I was a little dictator and stuff like that. So I was bullying the shit out of my brother and my sister. Am I allowed to cuss here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. So, and I was causing a ruckus for my mom. I was not leaving because my mom, when she came from Nigeria, she's like learning the United States customs and stuff like that, and so she was very scared and like not trying to get deported.
Right.
So she liked to keep us. She's very reserved in that aspect, and she likes to keep everything sheltered. So she liked to keep us inside, and I was just like, hell no, I'm trying to go adventure. So I was always running out and stuff like that, and and it was just causing her hell, man. I tore up everything. On top of that, she worked late nights. So we had to go to babysitters, late night babysitters and stuff like that. So it was pretty funny because like she would rest in the morning because she had to go to sleep in the morning, and that's when I would just cause a ruckus and tear it up. So I was like messing her up from sleep and stuff. And then at late night, then she had to go to work all tired, and I'm just like, oh. Looking back at it now, I'm just like, yeah. I hope to God I don't have any kids like me because it's gonna be bad. We're gonna be duking it out. Excuse me. So living in the trailer parks, it was pretty cool. It was mostly a Latino culture. So I grew up with a bunch of Latinos and stuff like that. So that was pretty fun. It was interesting because actually my entire area that I was living was mostly Latino. So me being one of the very few black people, it was like kind of easy to get picked on and stuff because it was just, you look different.
Right, yeah. You're the outlier.
You're the outlier, exactly. So it was just like easy attacking. But I went to a school called Franklin McKinley Elementary School. That was pretty interesting. Again, I was literally in my grade, the only black kid for like a really long time. Like there was other black kids, but they were a grade above us, so we didn't really like worry about them or know about them until they all graduated. And then I remember in like my second grade, I had two friends, both Jacob A and Jacob L, that were both half black, so it kind of counted, but
kind of counted.
It kind of counted.
Damn.
At the time. I was like, I mean, they black. But
Man,
I was
you look light skinned. What are you talking about?
Man, it's team dark skin out here. What you talking about? Nah, but I was like the only black kid. So all the way up until 6th grade, I was the only black kid. And then once 6th grade hit, I got my best friend in the world, also named Stefan. But I'm Stefan John, and his name was Stefan Taylor. And at the time, there was like, they called me the first Stefan, and they called him the second Stefan. So he hated that. I'll never forget the first day he came over. And it was the funniest thing ever because it was lunchtime, and we were in the cafeteria, and everyone was like, oh, that's the new kid. And they were telling me ahead of time, like, oh, his name is Stefan and stuff like that and everything. And I was like, oh, cool. It's like, it's another black kid on the campus. Like, I finally get to make a new friend. We have so much to bond, and he has the same name as mine. It's gonna be cool. So I walk over to him. He's sitting by himself alone because he doesn't know anybody out here. And then I pull up to him, and I was like, "Yo, what's up?" And he looks at me. He's like, "Yo, what's going? How's it going?" And I was just like, "Oh, it's good. How you doing?" He's like, "It's whatever." He's like, "What's?" I was like, "Oh, what's your name?" Even though I knew his name, he's like, "Oh, it's Stefan." I was like, "Cool, cool." He's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Oh, my name's Stefan." And he's like, "What? Fuck you." And I was like, I said, "What? Fuck you." Like, I was like, "Oh, hell no."
He thought you were making fun of him?
Yeah, because like, it's like the exact same thing as me. Like, we grew up our entire lives with we were the only person named Stefan, but into like 2 different areas. And then all of a sudden, he comes to this new school, and there's somebody with the exact same name as him.
Come and mock him.
Yeah, just like, what? Like, we knew that other people could have the same names, but Stefan was the most unique name out there. Like, there was nobody with my name.
Yeah, I don't know any other Stefans.
Exactly. Yeah. Until I met this one, and then he was like, "Oh, hell no!" He met me. He was like, "No, this can't be true." He's like, "This has to be somebody else." We ended up hating each other for about like a cool week or 2, I believe. Like, we were just not fucking with each other at all. Everybody else,
best friends are made.
Yeah, like everybody else was like cool with each other, and like, but when it came to me and him, we were like, nah, we were beefing. And then finally, we had like a common sport, which was playing football and stuff, but we didn't really know all the rules. It was just like somebody has the ball and tries not to get tackled and just runs to the other side and stuff like that. But we found out that we were both hella fast. And then we like got bonded after that, and then the rest is history. We stayed friends ever since then, and we still are friends. I'm gonna have to call him after this. It's like, shout out to you, Stefan.
Hell yeah. And so that was a majority Latino school.
Majority Latino school.
Were there white kids? Few and far between.
Few and far between, but see, it goes like.
And this is in San Jose?
This is in San Jose. So San Jose, it was mostly Latino, or at least in my area.
Right.
It was mostly Latino. And then when you go to schools, it was funny because it was like a large sum of like Asian. The Asian population was huge over there too. So it was like Latinos and Asians, and then white people would actually mix with the Asians. So they were just like all one and the same. So they just added to that. So there were some white people, but you can barely find them. You know, you can see them. You can tell that cause most of them had blonde hair and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they're blending.
But they're blending in there, and just everybody's on that anime hype. So I mean, I'm on that anime hype too. I'm not gonna knock it, but it that's just how it was.
Right.
So it was hella funny. And then there was like black people, and then like the others, quote unquote, which is like like Native American or Polynesian, Islanders and stuff like that, like really, really small. And then middle school came in. The others, yeah, because I'm thinking about like the school pie charts,
right?
Messed up school pie charts.
It's like, a sliver.
Yeah, like white, Asian, black, and Mexican, and then you have others. Like, what? They don't even give you the legend of what others could be. It's just other, and it's purple, always purple. So messed up. Going into middle school, it was funny because like our middle school only had 7th and 8th grade, so you're only there for 2 years.
Yeah,
and that was Sylvandale Middle School. And I remember 7th grade, I never wore shorts, except for the last day of school. I wore shorts, and everyone went ballistic. Like, they were just like, "What? Stefan's wearing shorts?" It was just like a thing. Like, I was always wearing long pants. Oh, another like crazy thing is like all my schools, like we had to wear uniforms.
Yeah.
So in like Franklin, it was.
Now you're yelling in that fucker.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Go screamo. No. In Franklin, it was green and khaki, like khaki pants always. But for the shirts, you can wear green, black, or white shirts. And then in Sylvandale, it was black pants. And then you can wear white, gray, or black shirts.
Now, was this because of because it was like a high-end school, or was it because they like try to thwart like gangs and shit?
They try to thwart gangs and stuff like. So the area that I was living in, it was pretty well known with the gangs and stuff like that. It was like there was a lot of crime and violence and stuff like that. It wasn't too crazy, but like you knew of it, and you kind of get desensitized from it in a sense. Like as messed up as that sounds, it was just like if it happened, it'd be like, oh, that's shocking. But it's like it's San Jose, like it's the area that you were living in. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, I remember when I was going to school, I was probably like 7 or 8 when I was living down in Morgan Hill, and I don't know where the school was. It might have been Morgan Hill, might have been San Jose. I just remember getting on the bus and just being out of school. But the school had rules that you couldn't be in groups larger than 5 people out on the playground.
Yeah.
And I was new to the school, you know, and I'm not good at talking to people, so I just didn't make any friends. So I go out to like recess, and like I'd be counting all the groups, and I'm like, well, I just sit here, I guess, and not talk to anyone because I'll get in trouble.
It seemed like a prison.
Yeah, and I was like, what's going on?
It has a weird prison mentality because like we had cops walking around and stuff like that, like fully strapped and everything. I can't remember the cop's name, but I remember he was showing us his gun in Silverdale, and he had like the Eagle Claw bullets, the ones that like turn into shrapnel, and he was like, "Yo, yeah, this is it's an Eagle Claw bullet. It will take out your assailant." And I'm like,
assailant?
Yeah, I was like, how's it gonna take out? How is it gonna take it out? It's just like the bullet goes in, and then it like splinters and just goes through your body and just wrecks you. And I was like, we just have this on campus? Like, who's gonna come into the campus like this and just like causing a ruckus? We haven't had. Thank God we didn't, because it can definitely happen, but it's like as a little kid, you're like, who's gonna come up in here and just act all crazy like this? That we had to need these kinds of bullets or these kinds of weapons in this area, like. But then again, we couldn't carry the weapons. Like,
right?
No knives or guns allowed on campus.
Yeah.
But we got the cops walking around like this.
And so to this day, are there still guards there?
Yeah.
And to this day, has there been a school shooting?
No. Like, okay. So what was crazy was, I believe they went this not crazy. They went this heavy duty while I was young, because when we were younger, it like our area was just known for just like so much gang violence and stuff like that. So many people were getting killed and like just torn up in like some crazy ways and stuff like that. So it's like when we came in, we were still in that system, but it was at the time where it was like fading away. Like now, if you go to those like the schools, it is just, I don't want to say it's like, think of like a pillow, basically. Like the students and just like, they're still like, how am I supposed to put this? Like they're still like, they still carry around the weapons and everything, but it is not as crazy or as dangerous as it once was at all. Like it's almost kind of soft in that kind of sense. Like it's weird.
I was like, how are you going to connect this to a pillow?
Yeah, like it's just soft. Like,
okay,
like the students and everything.
Yeah.
It's just soft.
Everyone's just soft, man.
Yeah, just soft, man. You still got good education.
We were talking about a story that got sidetracked again.
Yeah, we got sidetracked. Isn't that was the point?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just talking.
It's just going. But you were
Silverdale. Like I'm just
middle school.
Met
another dude named Stefan. You guys hit it off.
Yeah, best friends. And then in
Did you guys go to high school together?
Yeah, we went from middle or elementary all the way to high school and stuff. In middle school, I met my second best friend, Heather Moore. That like we are just the trio. We are the trio of misfits. Like it was just hella fun. I remember because I will never forget. I've had her in my homeroom class, right? But we didn't really talk as much. And then I remember the first time we started to interact. It was at a Target. I was playing. This is when they had. Do you remember like the video game cases in like stores and stuff like that? And they had the little display so you can play the games, like little demos and stuff like that. This is when they had them. Like it was like all over the place. I think they still have them. I remember I was playing this Lego Batman game, the demo and stuff like that. And I was just playing it. Like my mom was out. Like we just went out to the stores and we were just playing. And then she came up. And she was like, "Oh, hey, Stefan." And I like looked at her and I was like, "Oh, what's up, Heather?" And then she's like, "Oh, I'm just here with my brothers and stuff, and we're just buying stuff from Target." And I'm like, "Cool." Like
she knew you from school?
She knew me from school, and I guess she wanted to like interact with me.
Well, yeah.
And it was the funniest thing ever because this is how you know I have no game or just like no sense or like no sense of signal because I was just young. So I was so infatuated with the game than keeping the conversation with her because every time she was trying to ask me something or like talk to me about it, I was just giving her one-liners and everything. And then I was like, oh, poor Heather. Like looking back at it now, I'm just like, oh, poor Heather. Because she was like really trying too. And I was just not.
You think back in the day, like all the girls that took chances on you,
right?
You're thinking about it now, you're like, oh, you're an idiot.
Yeah, just like, you fucking idiot. Right? I was just not phased. Like, in this case, I was like really focused on this game, just playing this demo, which was about to end anyways too. And then it got real awkward for her. And excuse me. And she was just like, oh, okay. And then she just like left. And I remember I finished the game.
And it hit you?
Yeah, like, and it hit me. Like, once I finished the game, I was like, I looked back and I was like, she was really trying to have a conversation with me. Like, I probably should have talked to her. I was like, damn, I missed that chance. Well, if I see her, I see her. Like, I was like, maybe I'll talk to her in homeroom. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But, like, that moment was, like, the perfect moment to, like, actually start talking to her and stuff like that. And then I remembered I found my mom and we, like, finished going to Target and stuff like that. And then as we were leaving, I seen her and I was like, oh, perfect time to like talk to her and like, you know, say like, oh, I'm sorry about that. And, you know, just yada yada, just try to have a conversation with her. And I walk up to her and I start like trying to talk to her, and I shit you not, her brothers, like, so you know how when you're a little kid and you're going into like, when you see something unfamiliar or if you walk into unfamiliar territory, like everything looks huge. Like until you get used to it, and then they actually like they start to level out and become like normal size or whatever. So I remember I was talking to her, and then these two big ass motherfuckers pulled up, and they were just like with the deepest voice, like, "Come on, Heather, like we're leaving right now." Like, and me being a little kid, like in 7th grade and stuff, and I look over, and it was like her brother Daniel, who looked fucking like 6'7", and then her other brother AJ, who looked fucking, I don't know, like 6'3" or 6'4". So I'm like, they were just massive. They're not that size right now. They're like, I don't even know what size, how tall they are. But at the time when I was little, they were looking huge. And I was scared shitless. I was like, oh my God, I should not talk to her. Because I remembered, I was like, wait, she did say she was coming with 2 older brothers. And like, I was like, I wasn't expecting these kind of brothers. Like, these motherfuckers were huge, bro. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. And then ever since then, like, I was always kind of like nervous, but then eventually we started like talking and being chill and stuff like that. We'd be cool. And then, yeah, like we were just cool and became best friends throughout high school and stuff like that. Fast forwarding to high school, when we came to high school, same thing. Where I remember as a freshman, like high school was huge, but it was actually pretty flat. It was mostly 1 story, except for like some buildings that go up to like 2 stories, maybe even 3. And freshman year, I actually did not play any sports. Like, I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on in high school. I remember it was very cliquey. There was like, I remember I stayed with, so Stefan and Heather both found their own cliques respectively, and which was cool. Like, we were still all best friends, but I stuck with what I was most familiar with, and that was with my boys from the trailer parks, Carlos and Aldo. So I stayed with them because we all lived together and stuff like that. We all walked to school. So I stayed with them for the most part, and I didn't really do any sports. Like, Stefan did sports, and I think Heather was with the choir group or some kind of bandmates and stuff like that. And I just remembered I was not good with not good with school, and I just did not care. I was just like, man, I'm just hanging out with my friends. So freshman year was like weird.
Your parents didn't care?
Oh, I kept my papers away from my parents.
No, I mean about not joining sports?
No, not at the time. My mom just wanted me to get home and like just be safe and stuff like that. So she didn't really care much for sports. I like told her I wanted to do sports and like warmed her up to it. Even for track and field and stuff like that, she was still kind of iffy because like I got to travel and everything, and she was just like, "Where are you going?" But I eventually warmed her up to it and stuff like that. Sophomore years when I actually started. Actually, let's rewind back a little bit. because in between the freshman year going into sophomore year, the summer, I actually broke my leg. Yeah, that's where I got the. I think I didn't show you. I have the scar on my leg. I have the titanium rod in my leg.
No, I never seen it. I think you told me about it, but I haven't seen a scar.
Yeah. I broke my leg. Yeah, I broke my leg jumping off a swing, being stupid. And then,
in the water, or like just
no. So
like at the playground where you're just like, wow.
Yep, in the playground. So the story goes, I remember because my mom was getting ready for work, so it was the morning or like in the afternoon, daytime, and she was like, Stefan, don't go outside. I got a funny feeling. Like she's just like, I have a funny feeling something bad's gonna happen to you. She's just like, it's in the back of my head. And I was just like, Mom, you don't know. Like, it's cool. I was like, all right, Mom, I won't go outside. Crazy. Yeah. I was like, all right, Mom, I won't go. I completely lied, of course. I waited for her to go to sleep. And when she went to sleep, I snuck out with my friends from the trailer parks and stuff like that. And we were like, there. My friend Kathy, she was like, oh, we're going to go visit my cousin. And she lives downtown. So I was like, okay. So we all hopped on the bus and we went downtown. We met her cousin and everything. And we were all just chilling in the playground. Everything was cool. And then I was just on the swing with my other partner. And he was telling me, we're like, oh, have you ever jumped off a swing before? And I was like, oh, of course. I always jump off swings. I always land on my feet and everything. Like, I was notorious for this. Like, this is how I got famous out here. Back in elementary, I would just like launch myself and land perfectly fine. So I remember I was like swinging hella hard and like getting enough momentum and everything. And then finally I went all the way back. And then when I was coming back up, I just like let go and I jumped. And then I don't know how high I was. I just knew I was just really, really high. And I remembered because everything slowed down. Like at this moment, Stefan knew he fucked up. Like, cause I was in the air and everything slowed down. And I like thought to myself real fast. And this is like, you know, it sounds so stupid, but this is legit what happened. So I was thinking, how do I break my fall? You know, how am I supposed to come down from this? Because I can't just land face down on the floor. Like, one, it's tan bark. So at some point in time, some of those pieces of wood are going to be facing up. So those are sharp as knives. Like, how am I going to break this fall? And immediately, the only thing I can think of was SpongeBob. Like, there's this one episode where him and Patrick are coming down, I think going shell surfing or something like that, down the sandbar. And SpongeBob goes up hella high in the air. And he asked, like, while he's up there, he asked Patrick, how did I break his fall? And he was just like, oh, just land straight down on your feet. So, but my brain stopped at that moment. So I guess like time was up. So I had to get back to reality. So time started speeding up again. So I'm coming down and immediately I just land down on both my feet on the tan bark. I remember seeing the crater from the impact because that thing was huge. Just like all the tan bark move away from my feet. And then I remembered what happened at the end because he did come, like SpongeBob did come down straight down on his feet, but then his like bones popped out of his body. So as I came down, like the tan bark shifted. There's a big old crater. And then I remember just one of my left foot got caught under some tan bark and it just shifted like that. So the ground was uneven. So my left foot shifted and I went down in the split position. And so whenever you break a bone, I don't know, you ever broken a bone?
No, I'm fractured.
You've only fractured?
Yeah.
So like I think it happens with fractures too, because like when the adrenalines and the endorphins kick in, like you become superhuman. So when my bone broke, my femur, I did not feel it. I did not hear anything. I felt just like on top of the world, if that's the word to say. Like it's just like I was just so amped up. Like I landed in a split position. My head hit my knee, didn't feel it, bounced right back up, and I'm like sitting up in front of everybody. Everybody's like looking at me all astonished and shocked. And I'm like, I don't know, like I couldn't hear anything or I didn't realize what happened. I was just like sitting right there. I just like was looking at my leg for a minute because I was just like, because my leg slumped over. And I was just looking at it. I was just like, I don't know. Like, I'm chilling. I was thinking about getting right back up. But then my friend Kathy ran over to me. She was like, are you okay? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I heard a snap. And I was like, for real? I was like, then I looked at my leg again. I was like, I think I broke my leg. And the minute I said that, my brain realized what had just happened. And then I felt the shooting pain just go up to my body. And I was just like, oh, like I leaned back and I was just like, yeah, I think I just broke my leg. Like, you need to call 911. And then they called 911. Everybody came. And at first I thought I lost my foot. I thought I was going to lose my leg and everything. So I started looking at my leg and my toes, and I started wiggling my toes. And I was like, okay, I still have feeling in my toes. It's just the bone is broken. And then I had to like readjust myself because I'm still sitting in this split, mind you. So I like had to like carefully inch my way, which probably wasn't a good idea. Like, you probably shouldn't be moving around when you broke your bone and stuff like that. But I like shifted my leg over because I was sitting in a weird spot. And then I like sat upright, and then I was just waiting for the cops to show up, or the ambulance to show up. And I remember when they showed up, they're like, yeah, we have to cut your leg or cut your pants. And I was just like, I'm not exposing my dick to everybody. So they're like, nah, you're going to have to clear out the crowd or something. I was like, don't even cut my pants. But then they're like, oh, it's a procedure. We have to do it. So they just proceeded to like cut up my pants. And I was just like holding my junk. I'm like, this is the most embarrassing thing ever. And then I remember the ambulance ride to the hospital. And from there, they already contacted my mom because I told them my information and everything. And then my mom and my brother and my sister came over. And I remember they were transporting me from one gurney to another. And so they were lifting me up, and they were like trying to slide me over because they didn't know how to like push me over. And I slid. I was sliding down, and one of the doctors from behind, or one of the paramedics or something, he slipped and he let go one of the sides. And I just like careened down to the other gurney and crashed. And my broken bones, like, they actually touched each other again, and it sent down the worst pain I've ever felt. Like, oh, dude, it was so bad. It was so bad, like I couldn't help but like start screaming and stuff like that. And like they can hear it down the halls. Like, it was the worst. And like it triggered my mom and my sister and my brother to start crying and everything. They were just like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" I was like, "Dude, this is horrible." It was Kaiser Permanente. And then they had to transfer me to another hospital that was closer. I'm blanking on the name of the hospital right now, but they had to transfer me to another hospital that was closer to my house. And from there, that's when I had surgery. And this was all in the summer, mind you. So
yeah, how old were you?
I want to say I was 12 going on 13. Yeah, because that's like freshman going to sophomore year, right? Yeah. And, right? If my math is correct.
No, you're like 13, 14. You're
13,
like a freshman.
14. 13, 14. Okay.
Yeah, so like 14.
Yeah, because I graduated at the age of 17.
Oh, well, typically you graduate around 18.
Around 18, yeah. So
about 13. Yeah.
13, about 13, yeah. So I remember I had to go through 4 surgeries.
Damn.
Yeah, 4 surgeries because I think it was surgical steel they put in the first time, and my leg rejected it. It kept on trying to attack it, so it was creating all these antibodies and stuff like that. So my leg swelled up to like 3 times its normal size. So I had to go through another surgery to drain it, switch it out and everything. And then I had like staples in my leg because that was another surgery. Like, I think they had to drain it twice. And then the last surgery was to like fix it up, like clean it up, and then like suture it all together. And then I remember while I was in the hospital bed, so this is where like my medical fascination comes in, because I'm laying in the hospital, right? And I'm looking at my leg, and it was funny because you don't feel anything, right? They also give you like morphine and all these kind of pills, like painkillers and stuff like that. So I'm looking at my leg, and it's just like a giant gash. I'm just like, oh, this is crazy. And while I'm looking at this, my my brain is telling me like, yo, you should be in pain. So it creates a phantom pain, and it's either it's probably even worse. It's your brain makes a pain even more worse than what it normally should be. So it just like once it kicks in, it was just horrible. And then I'm like over here just writhing in pain, trying to like press the morphine, but they only gives you morphine or dosage of like one every 30 minutes or something like that. And I've already clicked it the one time, so I kept on looking at my leg, and I'm just like, it hurts so bad and stuff like that, just being stupid. But I liked watching, like looking at it and like watching the process of it heal and stuff like that. Getting discharged was pretty interesting because I had to learn how to walk again. And I thought I was gonna go to like rehab and stuff like that, but we had no money for all that rehab. So what they just gave me a walker, and I was like, I'm not using this walker as like an old person. Like it's gonna be horrible. Mm-hmm. But I eventually like had to just get over it. Like you're not an old person, you're just young. You just have to use this in order to learn how to walk. Like walking was pretty interesting. Like I just did my own rehab. Like first I had to like start by learning how to bend my knee again because it was so atrophed. If that's atrophed and stuff like that. So I had to learn how to
muscle atrophy.
Atrophy, there you go. Mm-hmm. Atrophy, there it goes. So I had to work on that part again, and then learning how to stand and just like all these little things and stuff. And then eventually I learned how to sprint, which was pretty cool. Which was like later down the line. But
you weren't able to play sports really your sophomore year then either?
I'm actually getting to that. So they told me that I was supposed to heal up in 6 months, but I eventually healed up in 3 because it was just the miracles of being young. Just like just happened so fast. So I thought that I could never sprint again. So it was like track and field was out of the picture. So I was just like, what can I do next and stuff like that. And then I remember that Stefan was playing football, and I was like, you think I should try it? And he was just like, yeah, come out. Like your leg's fine and everything. Just come out and see how it goes. So I played football, actually. It was pretty funny because I came in kind of late after tryouts and stuff like that. So they didn't really believe in me. They're like, yeah, come out, run around, see what you can do. I remember one of the first practices, I didn't have a belt. So I was like running around holding my pants up. And but I was still toasting everybody because like I was fast. Like I was able to beat my competition. But in my head, I wasn't sprinter fast, if that's the case. Like if that's just how it is. Like it sounds so weird because I can run and I can tackle and stuff like that. But I was like, oh no, like this isn't as fast as I could be. It's not for track athletes and stuff like that. So I completely ignored track. But I was able to play football. And then another rehab thing was that's where I also started doing swimming as well, because after football there was also swimming. And that was just for a rehab thing, but I also fell in love with it as well. I also had Heather on the swim team, so that was pretty fun. What else happened? Junior year, I played football again. Then during the winter, I was in wrestling because I hopped back into wrestling again because that was another sport that I thought wasn't gonna be like I'm not gonna be as good. It was like weird. I'm a weird person. Like I feel like I can feel like I can do these sports, but I can't do these sports. It's just my psyche. If you think it's weird, then yeah, I'm agreeing with you. That's just how it is. I hopped back into wrestling again, and I was like ranked in state and stuff. Like that was pretty cool. Yeah. Junior year came and gone. And then senior year, it was just like it was senior year. You know, so much stuff went down. That's where it was. I was ranked again in the state. I swam. We played football, but our football team wasn't the best, so it just like came and went. But I still loved it because it was like all my boys and stuff. We had prom. I was actually doing good in my grades, like actually stuck onto my books and stuff, and I was able to graduate, of course. It was funny because like I graduated, I was like very young when I graduated because I graduated at 17, but I wasn't going to turn 18 until I hit community college like several months in deep into community college and stuff like that. 'Cause my birthday's on Halloween. So we graduated in May, and then right after that, I just jumped right into community college, and everyone's just like, "Oh, you're still 17," and I was just like, "Yeah," just being me. They actually didn't let me play football in community college for like the first year I was there, because the coach was like, "Oh, you're 17. You can't fill out these forms because your parents have to fill it out and stuff like that." Just something crazy. He probably just didn't believe me again. So he was just like, "Yeah, you have to wait until you're 18." So I had to wait a whole year again, and then I started competing in football and stuff. And then from there, I did football and swimming. And then my third year, I did football again, and then water polo, and then track and field. Like, that's when I was just like, "Oh, I'm done with my football eligibility at community college. I'm getting ready to transfer soon. Like, what's another sport? Because I just want to like stay in shape and stuff like that, so I don't look all crazy when I'm transferring to another school." And I was just like, "Yeah, let me just hop back into track and field and stuff and see if I was going to be any good at it, or just like it's just going to be like a self-assuring thing, just for me. Mm-hmm. Nothing too big." Eventually, I just like picked up on it and fell in love again, and it was awesome because I ended up being not known to owning 4 records at De Anza that are still held to this day right now. And we ended up being 6th all time in community college for state for the 4x4, even though I hate the 400. Like, I still ran it. Like, whatever the coach put me in, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it and see how it goes." But we made it all the way to state for the 4x4, and we ranked for that, so that was pretty cool. And I have the medals for that, and it was like we were the first team ever to have both a conference championship for both the guys and the girls at the same time. Like, our school was just stacked that day, or that that season. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
So how'd you find HSU then?
So for HSU, I was getting recruited for both football and track and field, and I was looking for something that can incorporate both. And I was getting like offers from like all these NAIA schools and stuff like that, and it was pretty cool. And then eventually HSU hit me up, and my friend Edwin actually goes to HSU, or he went to HSU, and he was just like, "Yeah, come over. You can actually live here," because like I didn't know any housings, or like I wanted to live in the dorms, but they were asking for way too much to live in the dorms and stuff like that. So I was like, I had to find my own spot outside, and he was just like, "Yeah, come stay with me, and for like the first semester, and then you can like find your own spot." So I was like, "Okay, cool." And originally, I was planning to go to Adams State in Colorado, but then my mom was very family oriented, and she was like kind of nervous about me transferring all the way to Colorado, and she's not going to be able to see me that much. So she was just like, "If you could find another school that's like in California, close enough, like far enough," because like I wanted to like leave San Jose because I was feeling like I was getting stuck into that area. If you can find a school that's like relatively close, that would be okay and stuff like that. So HSU was just like the perfect landing, I guess. And I transferred over here, and it was pretty cool. I lived with Edwin, turns out, for the entire year, because like we just gelled that well. Me, him, and Dre, like my current coworker, me and yours. And yeah, like that was it from the beginning. Like, it was pretty interesting coming up to HSU. It was surprising because it was the first time I realized how big California was, because I don't really, when I was younger, I like to travel, but when I don't have a car, so I couldn't like drive all over the place. And then 2 is like, my mom was very sheltered. She just liked to keep us close by. So I didn't really get to explore as much as I would love to. So driving up here, it was like pretty interesting to see like different like niches and stuff like that in the area of California. I'm just like, what? We're still in California? Like, there's the Bayside, there's plains, there's the mountains, and then there's like, it's just like, it was all over. Then there's the redwood forest, of course, and I was just like, what? This is crazy. And I was like, this is the perfect spot because here in HSU, it's just like, it's like all four corners in a sense, so you can just travel everywhere.
That's true, huh?
Yeah, I've been up here for 3 years for the most part. I'm actually currently living in the exact same place that Edwin and Dre used to live in. They graduated and moved out, and then they gave me the spot, so I just stayed here and finishing out my school and stuff like that. And yeah, like, right on, man.
Yeah.
Dre got me a job working as security. I'm working with you. Like, we got work on Wednesday.
You know? We
We
got work tomorrow.
got work tomorrow. You got to deal with all those peoples. You got to deal with these
Luckily,
HSC
there hasn't been too many fights.
Nah. There was the fight that happened outside, but it was inside, so
That wasn't us.
it wasn't us. It wasn't our problem.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
Well, sweet, man. That was a good story. We're coming up on an hour right now, so that was it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Damn, all right, cool.
Shit goes
Just
quick.
rambling. Just
All right,
doing
man.
too much.
Thank you, bro.
No problem.